Okay, this is a general overview of the xair and working with it for Sunday broadcasts. There's this is what the item looks like, xair, and then there's also one on the toolbar. And then you'll come up with this connect, and you have to have the turn on the three switches um, in the rack behind this monitor. So those are on first, otherwise it won't find anything. You'll have no name. Um, but if you turn those on first, then you'll have a name. Do connect. Then you want PC to mixer, unless you know there's something on the mixer that didn't come from this PC for some reason. Um, Transferring parameters, and you're good. Next thing is utilities, and then click on buses. Okay, first thing is we have 16 inputs, and then auxiliary FX 1 through 4. It also has 4 AUX outs or buses, however you want to do that, and then it's got a main left right. Now, one thing to understand about the way we broadcast is all the sound comes into the XR16, which is our little mixer. Then it comes in depending on which service in different places, and then it goes out to the computer, and then you've got there's 4 outs, and then but you need to understand that the radio, the main left right from on the XR16, which is the main output, which I call left right radio, that goes up to that little soundboard above that's on the tabletop, and that does not need to be, the settings on that do not need to be changed. I just have those come in. They're basically set. In the paperwork, they'll be, okay, here's what they should be, so you need to sort of check. So that when what we listen to, you can listen to the XR16. I listen to the output from the computer through the earbuds or the headset line that comes from the back, so I can hear what's going out to Facebook, and then just watch the meters on the radio to get the radio right. Used to be that I only had that little switchboard, and I could not work the radio and the output to the computer. One would always affect the other, and so now I have it so you can adjust one independently of the other, or you can do some adjusting together. So just understand that they split, so know that the signals or the outputs might be slightly different. But okay, we use just 8 of these inputs. There's a total of 16, and we use it's not even 1 through 8. Okay, channel 1. Okay, so this is channel 1, and this is, and all the channels are the same. This is the main gain, so a little of this goes a long way, and these are the main gains for the AUX outs. So this one's for AUX out 1 or bus 1, AUX out 2, bus 2, and so on down the line. So there's 4 of those. And then there's all kinds of other things. If you need more detail on this, there's lots of good videos on YouTube on this. And of course you got mute and fader. Now, using the fader, you can either hold down left and pull it up and down with you, and or you can use the wheel. I use the hold down method if you got big jumps in volume, between things, between say the band playing and someone talking, and you want to jump on the volume, and then just little gains in between. Using the wheel forward toward the monitors is higher, backwards toward yourself is lower, and you'll do roughly a little over 1 dB at a time. So that's a better fine gain using the wheel instead of trying to hold it down and push it. Okay, so that's the basic channels. 1 is a connection cord soundboard. 2 is a connection cord microphone. It's not being used at this point, but if we get a crowd mic back there, that's where it'll go, although we do have 8 spots we could put it in. 3 is the iPod. 4 is the iPod, but that side isn't used. And 5 is not used. 6 is a sanctuary soundboard. 7 is the mouse, or the mic up by the soundboard. There's a choir mic up by the soundboard that's my crowd mic. So that comes separately down to me. So if you want to mix in crowd noise more than is coming through the soundboard, you can do that. And then 8 is this mic in here. And you definitely want off during broadcasts. Okay. Having said all that, and you can also on these main gains, either the main gain for the channel or the main gain for the aux outs, those can be done with the wheel as well on the mouse. Or I don't know, you may be able to drag them for all I know, but I generally usually I don't change them, but if I do, I'll use the wheel and change them a little at a time. Okay, next we'll go over here, main left right. So this is your main output, and this, as I mentioned before, this goes directly and only to the little soundboard that goes out to the radio station. And you notice I have it labeled LR radio. Now, the buses, these are your aux outs, or what I call aux outs. They have buses 1 through 4. We only have 4 out buses. And then, of course, your main left, your left, right again, your main left, right, or left, right radio. Now, notice that this one and this one are exact, move one, you move the other one. Like the video main, this is, you move it and it doesn't affect anything. The volume is affected, obviously if you move one of these input gains, then it will affect the volume in here, but it won't move this directly. So I use, like, the 930 service is a more complicated because you're doing two different output streams at one time. Yeah, actually you're doing 3 or 4 output streams at one time, but only 2 of them we only manage 2 of them. and the others we let other people adjust. I'll explain it in a minute. Um, so this output goes to the computer, the main video, and so that audio tags into the main computer. It actually tags into the um, ATM Mini Pro, which is behind this monitor, and connects up to the video, and that's where that's where that gets together. Okay, bus 2 is the house channel, so this goes out to the televisions and connection cord and whatever. I do not do anything with this and let them move their volume on the TVs as they see fit. Um, bus 3, these are the studio speakers. Um, I've got a pair of speakers in here I use a little bit. And then the director has a pair of speakers in the storeroom. And that was that. And again, that is not monitored. Vimeo backup, bus 4 is you come out of bus 4 on the XR16, and this goes into the main line in on the back of the computer, and this is backup audio in case something goes wrong with the main audio. So if during the 9:30 service, a lot of times I'll just leave 6, say around the -5 to 0 range, and it depends on how things are coming down from the board. Obviously, if I move this up or down, it affects both the video main and the radio, the sound of the computer and the radio. And if I just move video main, it only affects the sound going to the computer, and if I do the radio, it only affects the sound going to the radio. So usually I try to leave unless it gets it's usually either really low or really high, and then I'll go back and adjust channel 6, and it adjusts both, and otherwise I'll just adjust them in here. Now, the first trick in all this is that the radio it's compressed and there's a limiter on it, but it's a lot more sensitive, and it does not have any sort of adjustments to it. You know, what we give it's what goes out main. Now, the radio that goes out over the internet, if you get onto that, they actually have something that massages all the audio and makes it more even. But the main output, if you're listening on a radio, so the radio is a little more crucial to get to, I've found, and I do some big adjustments. The radio, you like to have if someone's speaking, I like to run it so they peak about -3 or +3, +6 on that scale. And if it's music like a hymn or special music, like to drop it down so you peak about 0. So you get into things like Pastor Kelly. I need her up between 5 and 10. Pastor Brian and Justin around 0 maybe, and this depends week to week. When we're singing loud hymns, some of the softer ones, will be a little, they're a little higher in there. But, loud hymns will be -10 and maybe even down lower than that. The problem is the power of, so many people singing at once. And the responsive readings fall somewhere in between that. I'll let them creep up above zero a little bit, and things can creep up, even with the hymns, briefly. But usually they're pretty solid, or special music will jump around a little bit. Um, Now, uh, Facebook, YouTube is in here. Those all massage their stuff, and they generally send things out at about minus 14 on the loudness scale. It's LUFS. So it's not as crucial to make little changes on this because they're going to tackle it for you. I like to just sort of keep it in a ballpark um, where we're running out about minus 10. Now this is on a DBFS scale that's on the software or the audio meters in the Studio 6 software. I'll show you where that is later when we get into Studio 6. Okay, I think I'll call it a day and see how that works.